In the last class, we learned about 3 5G application scenarios. Today, we will discuss network technical standards of mobile communications. First of all, we need to understand what exactly a communications technical standard is. These standards are the technical specifications that must be complied with when producing communications products and implementing communications construction. They are important for every aspect of the industry. You may be wondering, why do we need these standards? Well, let's consider this mobile network where Zhao Hua wants to call his friend, Zhao Ai, to plan a weekend tour of Hangzhou's scenic West Lake. Zhao Hua loves Chinese brands. He uses a Huawei mobile phone, but Zhao Ai is a cosmopolitan young lady who loves international brands. She uses an iPhone. To make the phone call, the connection must go through base stations connected to a core network. The involved devices are not necessarily all provided by the same vendor. For example, the base station could be from Huawei, while the core network is built using equipment from other manufacturers. The products of many different companies are manufactured according to certain standards. In this way, no matter which product supplier is chosen, all the devices in the network can communicate and interwork with each other, providing standard network services for the customers of operators. Therefore, although Zhao Hua and Zhao Ai use different mobile phones to connect to different operators' networks, signals are processed and transmitted via multiple vendors' devices to make the phone calls succeed smoothly. Because the devices we use conform to mobile communication standards, when we travel abroad, we can still use our own mobile phones to access wireless networks in another country. These standards make international roaming, WeChat, and other forms of social networking possible while we are abroad. So, these standards are extremely important. How are the standards of mobile communications generated? Who made them? First, we need to mention an important management organization, that is, ITU, the International Telecommunications Union. Communications technologies form a relatively complex, closed system. Each new generation of communications technology starts with the requirements raised by the ITU. With clear requirements formulated by the ITU, each technical standardization organization will develop detailed technical standards to guide and restrict the research and development and production of network devices and terminals. At the same time, all of the major companies and organizations involved start researching the new technologies. They test the practicality of the new technologies and propose standardized solutions. Standards organizations select the most appropriate options and define them as the new standards. After that, each equipment vendor can develop corresponding products based on standards, sell their products to the telecom operators for network deployment, and provide communications services. Therefore, communications technology standards define the industry. After understanding the development process of communications technology standards, who gets to define the standards of 5G? Currently, ITU and 3GPP are 2 very important international standards organizations in the field of mobile communications. The ITU defines the visions for 5G, the network KPIs, and the 5G network requirements. The 3GPP is responsible for standardizing 5G. They define and release the technical specifications to the public and produce technical reports. 3GPP is working with major equipment vendors and telecom operators to formulate 5G standards. 3GPP is a standards organization established in December of 1998. They are one of the most important mobile communication standards organizations. Its members include regional and national standards organizations, along with major equipment vendors and telecom operators. Over the past 20 years, 3GPP has released 13 versions of standards and has completed the technical standardization of WCDMA, LTE, and 5G. 3GPP is proposing unified global 5G standards right from the start. They want to fully consider the benefits of global roaming and economies of scale. Based on this goal, what is the progress of 3GPP in 5G standardization? 3GPP started to prepare 5G standards in 2016 and released the first 5G protocol version, or Release 15, in December 2017. In 2018, this version was revised and optimized several times. In this version, 3GPP defines 5G New Radio, or NR, and Evolved LTE, or ELTE. EMBB is the primary focus of Release 15. In the later Release 16, 3GPP will define technical standards of MMTC and URLLC, which will be completed by the end of 2019. Then, 5G standards can provide support capabilities for all service scenarios, EMBB, MMTC, and URLLC, and achieve global commercial use in 2020. After learning about the standardization process of 5G protocols, let's look at the progress of 5G global commercial deployment. Currently, 5G commercial deployment is mainly performed in East Asia, North America, and Europe. Operators in China, Japan, and Korea play an active role and plan to release their own brand in 2019. The whole industry continues to promote 5G development and is exploring the capability of large-scale commercial use in 2020. The first batch of applications on 5G networks mainly focuses on EMBB and FWA services. At the beginning of 2018, people first experienced 5G applications during the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, Korea. Korea Telecom, KT, the official partner of the 2018 Winter Olympics, offered VR applications as the trial commercial use of 5G. For example, synchronous streaming used in sleigh games provided audience with real-time images of the athlete's view in 3D by using ultra-micro wireless cameras and telecom modules. 360-degree VR was used for ice hockey and skiing games. The audience were able to watch VR games when wearing devices. Panoramic view was applied to cross-country skiing games. The audience were able to track a specific athlete in real time. During the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, 5G standards were not yet perfect. However, 5G technologies and application scenarios have been verified, which has played an active role in 5G industry development. For the Tokyo Summer Olympic Games in 2020, 4K will become the main medium, and NHK will pilot 8K services. It is also worth looking forward to the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022. Chinese operators will actively promote the commercial use of 5G. At present, multiple operators worldwide have announced the commercial use of 5G networks. Verizon, an American operator, launched 5G FWA services on October 1st, 2018. The brand is Verizon 5G Home, which provides FWA services for customers and ensures an over 300 megabits per second, a maximum of 1 gigabit per second, internet service experience. Finland operator Elisa, UAE operator Etisalat, and Italy operator TIM have performed small-scale commercial use of 5G EMBB or FWA services. Although the current scope of commercial use is small, operators have confirmed the availability of 5G devices. This promotes the large-scale commercial use of 5G in the future. According to the Global Mobile Suppliers Association, or GSA, by the end of 2018, 192 operators in 81 countries had invested in 5G, including verification of 5G networks, licensed 5G field technical tests, and some 5G networks that have been built and put into commercial use. In this lesson, we looked at the 5G International Standards Organizations and reviewed the progress of 5G standardization and commercial use so far. That's all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we will discuss 5G network challenges.